Over the past few months, I've been raising policy issues which I believe are crucially important for the future of our country. This is my job as a member of parliament. Moreover, it is my duty as a conservative member of parliament to contribute to debates and offer policy solutions from a conservative perspective. Otherwise, what is the point of being involved in politics? I am in politics to defend ideas, real conservative ideas, because I passionately care about the future of our country.
I think it's important to recognize that we're in a world right now where these discussions, this polarization, this fear of the other has become easy currency for politicians who do want to strike up uncertainty in people's hearts and lift those anxieties and try to get people to vote against things.
So Canada remains committed to the Paris Agreement, making major reductions to carbon emissions by 2030. The carbon tax, part of that overall effort.
What's becoming clear is that this government does not have a climate plan. Their plan has failed to reach a single solitary greenhouse gas emission target.
Now it's not the birth rate, but immigration driving up the population, with a record 1 million newcomers landing last year, and millions on the way in the years ahead.
World leaders, corporate giants, top academics, they're all coming together in Davos, Switzerland today.
Trust into our institutions and particularly trust in our capability to shape a better future.
Your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment. Where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dress like torn demons, to read to young children.
After a couple of minutes of this debate tonight, I think people can clearly see why I didn't think you should deserve a platform.
For too long, Canadian politics has been hijacked by interest groups, cartels, lobbies, international organizations, corporate and union interests, and the interest of politicians and bureaucrats in Ottawa who are disconnected from ordinary citizens. We see it in the way the old parties try to attract voters and support, not by offering solutions that appeal to all Canadians, but by pandering to various groups and dividing Canadians into little tribes that can be bought with promises, privileges, and taxpayers' money. Nobody speaks for Canadians. Nobody speaks for the people.
The billboards have popped up along highways across Canada. Say no to mass immigration, vote People's Party. Launching his campaign from his Quebec riding today, Maxime Bernier defended the billboards.
We want fewer immigrants, a maximum of 150,000 a year. And, we're not for mass immigration. We are the only principled alternative. We are speaking the truth about the real issues that we have in this country. Immigration, taxation, that's important. And let's have these debates in this country, that's important. Canadians want that.
And now is the time!
The greatest threat to our freedoms in our lifetimes arrived in the form of tyrannical lockdowns, mandates, and ostracization of normal Canadians by corrupt governments across the country. We were not deterred. For 2 years, we protested across the country and fought back. Even in the middle of the darkness, we held on to our hope and faith. The largest human rights protest Canada has ever seen. The most inspiring act of civil disobedience I have ever experienced.
After 2 years of government tyranny, of lockdowns and travel bans, of curfews and stay-at-home orders, of government pitting families and friends against each other, of propaganda and psychological manipulation, brave Canadian truckers started a movement that would wake up a nation and inspire the world. Starting from the west and then the east, they made their way to Ottawa. The line of trucks and cars grew as they passed through each city and province. Patriotic Canadians gathered on highway overpasses, waving flags and raising homemade signs. 13 months ago, they began to arrive in Ottawa. The career politicians that walked the halls of Parliament were reminded that these buildings, this country, belong to us. They were reminded that Canadians are not just serfs paying taxes to support their insane globalist projects. We are a proud people, not to be treated like cogs in some broken machine. Trudeau smeared the protesters as racist and misogynist. The fake news media painted it as an occupation. They claimed the citizens of downtown Ottawa were being terrorized and lied about protesters committing arson and other crimes. But I was there in person. I experienced it firsthand. And I can tell you, it was the most beautiful, peaceful, and patriotic event I have ever seen. After 2 years of misery and discrimination, of being separated from friends and family, there was a special sense of love and togetherness in the streets of Ottawa. People were proud to be Canadian again. But just as pride and patriotism was resurging in Canada, Justin Trudeau stumped it out like a campfire at the end of the night. Trudeau gave himself unprecedented powers meant to protect Canadians at times of war. He weaponized the financial system, shutting down fundraisers and freezing people's bank accounts without due process. Stormtroopers took to the streets, shooting journalists with tear gas and trampling people with horses. We were reminded the tyrants are still in control. Even though the Freedom Convoy was violently crushed, it was still a brilliant success. Public opinion had turned. Provincial government started to quietly drop mandates and restrictions. In the years since the convoy, the political establishment has done everything they can to sap the momentum out of this populist uprising. They've used every tool in their arsenal. The corporate media are still vilifying protesters and preventing the other side of the story from being told. The courts have delayed important cases or refused to hear them. Trudeau made a mockery of the inquiry, appointing a former Liberal staffer as commissioner. Many Canadians that had woken up have been lulled back to sleep. We must not forget about what the tyrannical Liberals did to us, what the NDP and the Bloc Québécois enabled, what the Conservatives failed to oppose. We must recapture the fervor and passion of the Freedom Convoy and start fighting now to make change in the next election.
Across Canada, this has been a day of protest, counter-protest, and even some confrontations over sex ed and LGBTQ rights.
To insinuate that we might actually be spending time indoctrinating them is absolutely ridiculous. You know, we don't have time for this. We just want our children to be, safe, loved, cared for, and if there is a situation where a child is in danger because of their sexuality or because of their gender identity, then it is our job under the Charter of Rights to keep them safe.
at the end of the day, we want to have a discussion. We want to establish a dialogue and say, listen, whatever is being taught to our kids, parents should have a right to know about that. It shouldn't take the strong arm of the government to have to come in and kind of force these things through. I think it's great that the education minister has made overtures towards that, and I would hope that both sides can get together and recognize that parents should be the final arbiters of what your children are learning in the classroom.
You know, we are the People's Party. We are working for the people, and that's why I'm here. I'm here with the people, and we share the same cause, the same values, and the message is very clear today. Leave our kids alone. That's a simple message. What is happening in our school is not education anymore, it's indoctrination. We need to stop that. So, as you said, I'm a politician at the federal level. What can we do at the federal level? We can do a lot because, as you may know, the Trudeau government is funding a lot of independent associations, radical associations that are promoting that radical trans ideology.
We can see how far we've come as a movement. We have shown resilience and strength. Our journey has been marked by determination and unwavering spirit. Today, we are confronted by many challenges. Our economy must be revitalized, our freedoms must be protected, and we must end mass immigration. It is imperative that we address these issues head-on with courage and conviction. We are embarking a new chapter in our history. I call upon every member of the People's Party to join me once again in this great project, the quest to make a better and brighter future for Canada. Together, we can forge a path of prosperity, freedom, and security. Let us not be complacent. Rather, let us seize this moment. Our potential is great. Let us combine our efforts and dedication to overcome all obstacles in our way.